innocent stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. And I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. But I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will rescue you.
Can everyone hear me? I immediately broke the rule and don't have my mask on, so let me just fix that. Let's get another round of applause for Brittany Renee. All right, let's try this again. Can you guys hear me if I have my mask on? Can you hear me now? But not now? Okay. My name is Cassandra Walton. I'm the Executive Director of Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership. I want to thank you so much for being here today, all of you who are here with us live at this moment, all of you that were here live with us all day long, and all of you who have been running with us all week long during the virtual run. The response to this event has been monumental, and I am a proud member of our community right now, and I have just a grateful heart for all of the support that we have seen for this suicide prevention effort. So my role right now is to do some announcements. I'm going to announce the top runners of the day, which I might have thrown on the ground. So our female top 3, and if you are not here to get your prize, then we will have it at the center. Just give me a call and we'll get it coordinated for you. With a time of 23:19, Kelsey Deal. With the time of 23:42, we have Kelsey— and with a time of 25:20, we have Mary DeLolis, and I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. For our male top three, we have 1925, Carter Ward. With the time of 2010, we have Adam Carter. And with the time of 2023, we have Grant Vicini. We have some wonderful prizes that were donated by Tiffany Brown. She made some wellness baskets, a book written by Lori Borman about her suicide survivor story, and gift certificates for free sessions at the other gym, as well as a 5-pack free yoga from the Root Center and a gift certificate for Jake. Thank you to all those folks who supported us and provided us with these prizes today. And now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker of the day. I'm so happy to have him here with us today. He is our El Paso County Coroner, Leon Kelly. He has been speaking on behalf of the suicide prevention efforts in El Paso County because he sees the numbers that we experience here in a real life way. He also has been impacted by suicide in his personal life. You may have seen him recently being one of our champions trying to manage this pandemic. Please welcome Leon Kelly.
Can you hear me? Is it working? No. All right. We're gonna. This is gonna be on the front of the Gazette. Medical director of El Paso County Public Health is not doing what he's supposed to do. All right. Well. Thank you. Now you can hear me. We're good.
Yes.
Okay. So, thank you for letting me be here today. Not often does somebody say they're excited that the coroner is here. So that was really nice. Many of you may know me, unfortunately, who do know me in a professional capacity. That's the job of the coroner. It's usually not a good thing that you get to know me. But over the last, really, I have transitioned from doing just the coroner job to also helping lead public health in our COVID response. And that happened because about 6 months ago, the public health director, whose name is Susan Whelan, who's really one of the unsung heroes of this community, who's also a very dear friend, called me on March 11th, actually, and said, hey, this thing could get bad. And I said, yeah, it definitely could. And you remember those days when we were like, impact us, as we were like hanging out at work. I said, yeah, if you need to, let me know, and I'll be there. And then that was March 11th, and that night I was on a panel for mental health and suicide prevention for the United Way over at UCCS. And we went into the room, the auditorium, and I was on the stage with the lights, and we couldn't. Everybody on the panel obviously didn't know what was going on. We were on a stage and talking. Then we come out 2 hours later, and everyone's kind of panicked, and we didn't know what was going on. And I said, well, what was this, like 28 days later? Like, we were the last people alive. Like, what happened? And they said, oh, Europe's closed, and the NBA's done for the season. And then Tom Hanks has it. I'm like, oh my God, Tom Hanks, America's treasure. And then we knew it was real, right? At that point. Began, the next 6 months of definitely the most difficult period of my life, probably the most difficult period of many of your guys' lives as well. And so it begs the question, why is the coroner invited to an event that's supposed to be about hope and bringing light to a very difficult topic? And the reason being, it gets to the core of why I do and why you all are here. Which is to take something terrible, something tragic, something painful that many of us have experienced, and turn it into some change, turn it into action. Basically what the coroner's job is to figure out what went wrong, and then help other people figure out how to make it right, how to prevent it from happening or to somebody else. And that's why we're really out here today. And I think I think we all.
There we go.
going? Okay. I think we all know that the statistics every day, 123 Americans die by suicide, taking the lives of over 45,000 of our friends, family, and neighbors. That's one death every 12 minutes in the U.S. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in ages 10 to 34. Between 1999 and 2008, it's increased 35%. The highest suicide rates in the country are along the Rocky Mountains, stretching from Montana at the Canadian border down through Colorado into New Mexico. Depression affects about a quarter of all Americans over the age of 18 in a year, and there's one completed suicide for every estimated 25 suicide attempts. The highest suicide rates are among whites, American Indians, Native Alaskans. Men have 4 times the rate of completed suicide than women. They account for 4% of our completed suicides, which is also true in El Paso County. An estimated 250,000 people per year become suicide survivors. About half of all Americans experience an episode of major depression, receive treatment, and yet 80 to 90% of those who do receive treatment, either by medication and or therapy, are treated successfully. In El Paso County, in 2019, suicides accounted for 22%. So 22% of all the autopsies that came in our door were suicides. It's 180 deaths in all. So in 1 year, 180 deaths, which is almost as many as drugs and motor vehicle crashes combined. The average age of suicide in El Paso County was 40 years, a range of 13 years of age to 89. And then year to date, this year, with the pandemic, we're tracking essentially exactly the same as we did last year, which should provide us no comfort, because last year was one of the worst years that we'd had on record. Every moment of change begins with a brutal and honest assessment of where we are. But the truth is, none of it because of some statistics that I just read you. Right? We're all here because we have a personal connection to the loss and tragedy of suicide. And for me, my mom suffered from borderline personality disorder, and I trailer park on the west side of Indianapolis. And my childhood was essentially a never-ending series of crises, volatile relationships, domestic violence, substance abuse. I knew that something wasn't right with my household. I knew my mom wasn't like other people's moms, but I didn't know exactly why. And I certainly didn't know if there was anything we could do about it. And so it really wasn't until I was in medical school doing my psychiatry rotation at the State Mental Health Hospital, where I was reading at the time the DSM-4, which was an updated version for psychiatry. And I got to the chapter on personality disorder, and it was like reading my own childhood biography. And then it suddenly all made sense, what we had survived and what we had lived through. In my senior year in high school, to that point I'm a physician now, so I can say this, but I was a horrible student, terrible, mediocre by any measure, on the best day. But I went and I was taking my ACT. And, I knew that test was my kind of one opportunity that if I did well, I could help kind of make up for a lifetime of really crappy grades. And I went and I took it at my school. And we came out, my girlfriend at the time came out, we're going to go to movies and celebrate the fact that we passed this milestone that young people have to do. And there was a note on my car, and it said to come home. And so I came home to my dad's house where I had stayed that night, and he told me that my mom had tried to kill herself. She had actually tried to call that night. She knew I was taking that big test that day, and tried to call and tell me goodbye. She felt like I was abandoning her after college. And unfortunately, that wasn't the first or the last time my mom would attempt suicide, and obviously that would us share and have lived. And so, as I said, this year's been rough for all of us, right? But there are some rays of light that have come. One is spending more time with our families at home, learning how kind of cook food at the house. Board games. We play a lot of board games in my house. Drive-in movies. The healing, power of nature. To be outside, letting life slow down a little bit, and having perspective on what's important to each one of us. But also a respect and an appreciation for what previous generations have gone through. That ties us to the past and the struggles of what others have done. Before COVID, my brother and I, we went to New Orleans